What's going on YouTube? Jay's 2 cents here, and I am in a really good mood right now. I told you guys a couple of vlogs back that I had gotten all the way back up to 314 pounds. And I was very depressed about that because I had been down as low as about 275 post surgery. So, what have we learned by me opening up with that little bit of information? Well, one, having gastric bypass is not a permanent fix. If you don't fix what the problems are that are making you gain weight, then you're just going to gain it back because you're going to eventually overcome the obstacle of eating, which is exactly what I did. I was drinking calories. I was eating foods that were high in calories, like ice cream and sweets and stuff that are high caloric intake, empty calories, and small form factor. So I could eat, the little bite-sized candy bars and stuff by like the handfuls and take in hundreds and hundreds of calories without any effort. And when they say don't drink your calories, it means don't drink those high sugared coffees, right? I'm a product of that. Don't drink, milkshakes or high sugar smoothies and things like that because you can easily drink a lot of calories. So 2 weeks ago, I told you guys I went on to the no carb diet, and it was hard in the beginning, but the amazing part about being a bariatric patient, bariatric bypass or a gastric bypass patient, is the fact that that mechanism is always in place. I'm still bypassed. My stomach may have stretched out some because of the foods I was eating, but unlike your skin, it goes back. And so the no carb, very low sugar diet really kickstarted things again, and my body is in fat burning mode once again. Thank God. I am just like a machine, losing 3 pounds a week, 3 pounds a week. And since we started the competition, going to the gym 4 to 5 times a week, doing high intensity training for those 5 days, saying, okay, for the next hour, I'm just gonna break myself, working out as hard as I possibly can. And my goal I told you guys last week was to get below 300 pounds. And I'm happy to say that I'm there. I'm exactly 298 pounds right now. And when I weighed last was last Wednesday when I weighed 300 point. It was either 300.4 or 300.2. I can't remember. And the time I had weighed prior to that, I might be getting the numbers wrong. It was either 301 or 300.2, something like that. But the bottom line is that I'm under 300, solidly under 300, and every day I get on the scale just to kind of track my water weight so I can see how much water I'm retaining. And here's the cool part about the no carb diet: you don't retain water. In fact, there's people who have fallen off the no carb diet and started eating a lot of pasta and bread and stuff, and they gain water weight really quickly because of that. And my energy levels are through the roof. I'm still doing really good about reducing the coffee intake. I'm not cutting it out entirely, but I'm sleeping better because I'm not taking in 3-4 cups of coffee a day. Everything just feels great. And the depression has certainly subsided because one of you, I don't remember who it was, and I apologize, linked me to a study done by the Mayo Clinic about the links of depression and high intakes of caffeine, whether that be sports drinks, coffee, cocoa beans, whatever, the caffeine beans. Some people like to eat chocolate-covered espresso beans. I've got some in the fridge. They've been there for like a year, and I tried eating some, and they make me feel sick. So that was a long time ago. They just sit in there. Don't know why, really. Maybe because we like to keep things in the fridge to feed the fridge monster. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of start off by telling you guys that I'm really excited because I'm 298 pounds, and that's afternoon weight, by the way, guys. When I weigh myself in the morning, I'm 295, 296. So I'm really excited about that, which means by next Monday, I should be down to about 295. And then I'm really excited because my target weight, I think I haven't really mentioned it. Some people ask me, well, what's your target weight? 250. I'm 6'4", guys. I'm really tall. 250, and with the amount of muscle I have on my body, perfect. I'll be perfectly happy with that. And so I'm really proud of my wife, though, Miss J's 2 cents, Mrs. J's 2 cents, whichever is the appropriate, proper thing to say. We did an hour workout today, almost like a boot camp style workout. She did really good. She didn't think that she could do a full hour the last time I did an hour because she wasn't at the gym. She had missed it because she was sick, I think. The last time I did an hour, I think I told you guys, hey, I did an hour workout, and I was all excited. She did it. She did a hell of a job, and she's looking really good. Like I tweeted a picture of her on one of the elliptical stair climbers, and she is just looking fantastic. Really can't even express how proud I am of her, especially when back in the day she didn't think she could work out because she's had some problems with her heart. So she's doing absolutely fantastic. Second part of this vlog, I tweeted and talked about the fact that the Mission Inn Hotel that we stayed at is one of the most haunted places in the area. In fact, most in all of Southern California, it's one of the most haunted, next to the Queen Mary, which I have also stayed at. I don't want to get into discussion about whether or not ghosts are real or demons or vampires or whatever that stuff is real. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to tell this story. You guys can take it for whatever you want. First off, I did not have any experiences whatsoever at the Mission Inn. In fact, I'd even told my wife, because I believe in extra stuff, ghosts and spirits and things like that. I believe in that sort of thing because I have. I think if you're religious, or at least Christian, you kind of sort of have to. But I don't want to get into any conversation about what ghosts are or whatever. But the bottom line is I believe that there's something that goes on. Years and years ago, I think it was like 2003-ish or whatever, my wife, myself, my sister, and her husband, we all stayed a night on the Queen Mary. And the Queen Mary has a lot of history about it. It was built after the Titanic. It's larger than the Titanic. It was a luxury cruise liner. Then it was commissioned into a troop transport in World War II. Has a lot of tragic history on it. People that were killed on the boat, guests that were killed. When it was a troop transport, it had accidentally cut another vessel in half, an American vessel that had cut in front of it in half. And because of the U-boat attacks, those ships were ordered under no circumstances do you stop. Regardless of what happens, you go across the Atlantic and you just keep going. Because the German U-boats or the submarines were sinking ships left and right. So they could not stop to help. And a lot of people died in that accident. I mean, thousands of people have died on this boat. So it's got a very tragic history. And if you believe in ghosts, you can believe that a lot of tragedy leads to those sorts of hauntings because of just the amount of emotion involved in the event. So anyway, they have what's called the Ghost and Legends tour, where they take you into the bowels of the boat, where like the haunted pool and the first class pool is, and the steam and the engine room and all that stuff, right? And I hadn't read any of the stories really prior. I had read some of the stories, but I don't like to taint anything prior to going to some place that I know is haunted. It's like, okay, it's haunted. I don't want to read anything about it. I don't want any subjective ideas put into my head of like, oh, that knocking because of that story. Oh, that's a ghost. I don't do that. In fact, I approach that whole concept kind of like Ghost Hunters or Taps if you watch Sci-Fi Channel, objectively and with the idea of debunking. Oh, I heard that. Well, okay. Well, it's the plumbing. It's the pipes. The lights at the Mission Inn at one point in the bathroom started flickering and dimming out on me. The building's 111 years old. The lights are going to dim and flicker. So I just looked at that as, hey, the electricity in this room is probably not the greatest. So, but on the Queen Mary, we went to sleep. We walked around the ship and we did a lot of things. And my sister's a real scaredy cat, and she dared me. She's like, "Go stick your head in that hole in the door," because there's like those peepholes, and it led into like a long hallway, and it was pitch black. And I was like, "Okay, fine." I went and like stuck my head in, and I'm looking around in there, expecting a face to like pop up like a scary movie. I'm not scared of that sort of stuff, but I believe in it. So it's kind of spooky, and it's like a way of overcoming. Like, I'm not scared. I'm gonna be a tough guy. I'm gonna go put my face in there. And I could have gotten an axe to the face for all I know. So anyway, we go to bed. It's like 3 a.m. It's really late. And the way the staterooms are set up in the Queen Mary, it's like 2 bedrooms. You have like the main bedroom, and then you have a small bedroom. And the rooms are really small. Like the size of this room that I'm in now would be the whole suite for 4 people. 2 beds and a bathroom and such. And there were 2 twin beds that were separated. My wife was in one bed and I was in another, and she slept on her stomach. She tends to sleep on her stomach a lot. And I couldn't sleep. I just kept tossing and turning, and there was a lot of light coming in through the doorway because my sister was so scared. She slept with the TV on in that room, so there was a lot of light coming in. The gaps in the doors were like that thick. It's not like now where their tight tolerances are really big. And So there was a lot of light in my room, so I could see in the room with no problem. And I remember just thinking, "Ugh, I can't sleep." And I roll over, and as I roll over, looking towards the doorway, which by the way, it wasn't like a door, it was like a small hallway and then a door. So from where I was, I couldn't see the door, but I could see like the whole hallway leading to it. And straight in front of me is the bathroom with a door on the side that you get in. So I'm looking like along the long edge of the door to get into the bathroom. So it's kind of an L-shaped room. And I see just the last couple of steps of a man in a tuxedo, like old tuxedo, like like top hat and long tails and, the kind of a fluffy collar sort of thing. Just not really like bobbing and walking, but just kind of like float into that little hallway towards my sister's room. And I'm like, I'm really tired. I'm seeing things now. So I didn't think anything about it. And it was kind of funny because then later I'm like, I wonder if my sister's okay now or if my sister saw anything. And I was like, she could be dead for all I know. So I kind of like didn't get out of bed because I was in that, did I really see it? Did I not see it? Am I crazy? Am I tired? Blah, blah, blah. So I go back, I kind of fall back asleep and I wake up a little later and I tell my wife and I tell my sister about the experience. And I remember my sister was like, "What the hell, man? That thing walked into our room and you didn't come to see if we were okay." And she got all mad. She's like, "There's a ghost in here and you didn't even come to check on us and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Well, your husband's in there. He's a Marine, so he should be able to handle it." Yeah, my brother-in-law's a Marine. And so I was like, "Hey, you can handle it, right?" And so we decided the next day to go and take the Ghosts and Legends tour. And I'm kind of like getting some flack from everybody like, "Oh, okay, you saw the ghost and you don't bother to see if anyone else is okay." I'm like, what's a ghost going to do to you? Seriously. And so we go to that Ghosts and Legends tour and we're the first in line. And there's like a ramp, a Galway or whatever it's called, that leads up to the side of the boat. You have to leave the boat and go up the side of this other Galway to get to the tour. And so we're sitting there and we're just kind of chatting with the workers. And because it's a Ghost and Legends tour, naturally you're going to ask, "Hey, so is the boat haunted? Ha ha ha," And one of the workers, there's like 3 workers standing there before letting us in because we were like the first group. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I mean, the boat has so much history involved. There's a lot of reported hauntings." And they're telling us that what makes it credible is the fact that so many people over the years keep telling the same story, the same story, and the same story. And so when for 70 years, 80 years, or whatever it is, you keep getting the same stories decade after decade, you have to expect that there's something going on. And so they tell us one of the memorable things that keeps getting repeated over and over is about a husband and a wife, like rich, kind of like heirs to some sort of a fortune, were on the ship, got married, and that there was a murder where they were both murdered in their room and robbed, and that it happened to be on their honeymoon, their wedding night, and it was very tragic, and it was like all over the newspapers and stuff back in like the 20s, long time ago, and maybe it was the 30s, but the bottom line is it was a long, long time ago, and I was like, "Oh wow, that really kind of sucks," and I remember my wife saying, "Well, where did that happen?" And they said, "Oh, on M deck." And they said they thought it was like room like 140 or something like that. My sister turns white. She's like, my wife looks at me and she's like, we were staying on M deck and we were in room like 142 and something like that. And the ghost like walked through the wall sort of thing. And we're like, what? And I just kind of went like numb. I was like, and it was just kind of funny because they're like, what? And my wife goes, tell him. And I went, well, we're staying in room 142 on M deck. And last night I woke up and saw just like the last like second or two of a man in a tuxedo walking through the wall. And they're like, yeah, that's one of the most common reports we hear on M deck is a man in a tuxedo just kind of wandering around. And it was like, wow, okay. So, I don't know what ghosts are. I don't know what I believe in that. But I believe that there's something, and I love to go on those ghost hunts. If something is like reported as haunted, I'm like, I'm all in. I'm just gonna go, and I take my camera and stuff, and I've only had a few experiences in my life, and that's one of them. And so I've had enough experiences to where I believe in something. And this vlog went way long. We're at like 15 minutes now, but I hope you guys enjoyed the story anyway. Just putting it out there. Take it for whatever you will, whether you believe in them or not. Doesn't make any difference to me. My experiences are mine, yours are yours. And as always, do all the normal stuff you do with these videos. Throw it up, roll it up, throw it in the trash. I don't care. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to go play some Xbox. Because that Xbox I destroyed was an extra.